Hello, hello. I am Ben Pick, and thank you for joining me in Writing to Write, where I used to give questionable writing advice through writing metaphors, but have since switched to hosting these productivity sprints as I work on finishing the fourth novel in my Into the Void series. You can see the first three behind me, and I am currently working on book number 4, another iteration of it. As I prepare for the final one with proofread. There we go. That's the final step. And I am going to set that up at some point. Don't know exactly when, but it should probably be soon. So I can have a timeline for when I am going to finish doing these iterations of the novels and reading through what I currently have. This most recent, there we go. Sorry, I got my little external keyboard that I use to type on. This most recent iteration is a follow-up from the copy editing I had done, and I believe this is my second complete pass-through, read-through of the novel. That sounds about right. Or maybe it was, I did a specific focused one. I don't remember. I think either way, this is either my first or second complete read-through of everything following the comments. So yeah, there's a lot going on. And it is Monday, so I am dazed upstairs, apparently. This is, it's been a rough one. And welcome back, obviously. I haven't seen you in 2 weeks, and it's great to be back, even if it is on a very stressful Monday. Richard, welcome, welcome, welcome. Always ready to party. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for being here. And yeah. Action, copy, and reproduce site. Awesome. That's what I like to hear. Yeah, hopefully that goes well, and hopefully the comments are good and help you improve. Adriana, thank you for joining in and for getting in some good study. I like that. I like that. Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot on the way of updates. Life was exceptionally relaxing last week, and then just got repeatedly kicked in the balls today. So that's always fun. It honestly wasn't because of last week. There are a lot of, it was basically just a perfect storm at work, which is the nicest thing I can say. There were a lot of things which are coming up. So we do 2 performance cycles. There's one, obviously now. So one in summer, one in winter. And I didn't really have, yeah, can't really say that. My priorities are based around the winter performance review, whereas I have a minimal amount of work for this one. And because of the last performance review, I wouldn't say I have even less to do now, but it's complicated. Essentially, I don't have a whole lot to say this performance review cycle because of how things went last performance review. Yeah, it's a bit complicated. It doesn't really apply to me, but I am commenting on behalf of others for performance, and because of how things work, how things worked out, timing, it's difficult to do that. Also, I got client feedback on a report I handed back 2 months ago. So like Goldfish, I don't remember even doing it. In fact, I initially opened up the wrong report because I opened up the more recent report from that client and wondered why all my access wasn't working. And it's because it's from slightly different components that I was working with. So I had to really dig through some of my old notes to figure out what was going on and to get the client what they want. Hopefully I can work on that. And And thank you, sweetie. That's very sweet. Richard, sorry, Andy. Andy, hey, thank you for joining in. Glad you could be here. It's been a while. I know I think it's very late for you. It should be very late for you, right? For some reason, I think you're UK time, along with Richard. Might not have that right. But yeah. For those of you just checking in, Publish with Andy regularly posts videos on YouTube. Check out his channel. He does a lot of good comments about KDP and what all the various things mean when you publish books, and the metrics and how to find the metrics, and what was it, the searching for the KDP buzzwords and how to use that to influence what you do and to get the most out of those various services. And it's not just KDP. That's the one that I happen to care about because that's the service that I use. And let's see. Oh, fair enough. Andy, it's not UK time. My bad. I have no idea where you live, Ben. Please don't share that publicly. But I am way off, I guess. I'm sorry. Either way, let's get started on the first performance review so that I can dig myself out of this hole. Now, like I said last week, being very relaxing, that goes along with a lot of writing. So I am all the way up. I think I was 2 weeks ago, maybe chapter 10, maybe chapter 15. I don't know, somewhere early. I'm all the way up in chapter 40 now. And that means I have chapter 40 and the epilogue, which means, chapter 40 and the epilogue, which are long chapters, and hopefully I will be able to finish them tonight. I don't know if I'll be able to, but that is my goal. Let's see if I can achieve it, and I will see you all on the other side of 30 minutes. Go on mute and take care. And welcome back. So I did finish the first chapter, which is pretty good. And now it's time for the epilogue, which, let's see, how many words? So chapter 40 is 2,000 words, and chapter epilogue is 3,300. So averages out, I think I can do it. If I can do whatever, 2,400, whatever I just said in 30 minutes, I think I can do 3,300 in 2 sets of 20. But yeah, I also have 5 minutes to spare, so I was just dicking around my phone and doing some sanity checks. And just trying to, regain some sanity, because I hear that's important. In fact, there's a lot of video games where, losing your sanity causes bad things to happen. There was that GameCube game I never actually played, but I've heard a lot about. And yeah. Also, yes, Planet Express. Side note, I haven't watched any of the recent Futuramas. I think the last one, I feel like I watched a few episodes when it came back 2 times ago. Maybe it was definitely on Hulu. And I think Hulu might have gotten either 2 seasons or whatever. I think I watched 2 episodes of that, maybe 3, and then gave up on it. And I feel like it got a second season there. And I think it's coming back again after being canceled for now, like the 6th time? All I'm saying is that the first series didn't really have an ending. When they did the movies, it had, well, the first 3 movies were worthless. The 4th movie was actually pretty good. Brought everything back together again, did a lot of nods and whatnot, and ended perfectly. And then because, animation companies, media companies want money, they decided to bring it back again. And I feel like that was the Hulu one where they undid the ending for book for the movie. But yeah. Oh, and yeah, I could have sworn that Simpsons was eventually canceled at some point. But I also have not watched The Simpsons since I think I watched an episode in college, and it was something about like there was an iPad or iDevice that was just terrorizing the town and shooting lasers out of its eyes. I watched it for maybe 5 minutes and turned it off. So Simpsons have fallen quite far since the 90s and early 2000s. Oh, well. Oh, dude, I'm not even touching the King of the Hill revival either. It's everything I've watched, which is a revival, sequel series, the Scrubs bring back or whatever. It's just nostalgia baiting, and I mean, if I'm going to watch it, I'm going to pirate it, and I don't honestly feel like even giving it that much respect, so I'm not watching it. I was a big fan of Scrubs, and yeah, they petered out, or they had a perfect ending to it. Then they petered out with a epilogue, not epilogue, but like the next class season, and that was just an utter disaster. So imagine it didn't exist. And then they came back again, and I don't know. It's not quite the charm or the interest. Yeah, in fact, I'm watching a bunch of videos about what people think and what they want in the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time remake that's coming out at the end of this year as part of the 30th collection, 30th anniversary or whatever. And, yes, there was a light temple that was cut from the original game. And it would be pretty cool to see, but at the same time, like, the pacing of that game is so good that throwing in an extra set of to-dos in the same world, it just doesn't hit. So I'm probably not going to play the Switch 2 version. I don't own a Switch 2 anyways, but I'm probably not going to care when it does come out because all I really need is, well, I mean, I have the originals upstairs, so I'm, whatever, I can show this. EverDrive. Even though I own all of the N64 games upstairs. So I got Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, but that gives me a chance to play some of the Zelda mods. So it's Dawn and Dusk, the Sealed Temple. There's a bunch of other ones that are really fun to play. And let's see here. So Adriana walked and fed the dog. Thank you, thank you, thank you. She took out the trash, weeded the front, and put tomatoes and steaks. Now it's time to order dinner, shower, then empty the dishwasher. Wow, you are being awesomely productive, and thank you for handling all that stuff. I really appreciate it because those are all things that I was supposed to have done and ran out of time today to do. Cough. Oh, King of the Hill. There we go. Took me a second here. Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I'm surprised that the humor translates so well from rural US to the UK. I kind of assumed that humor wouldn't necessarily travel, but yeah, I guess the characters weren't actually stupid, but they were definitely depicted as a lot of times less than intelligent. And Bobby was quite naive. And then I guess the daughter was pretty dumb. I don't know. Yeah. So, anyways, let's get on to sprint number 2, and then we can do sprint number 3. So I will see you all in 20 minutes. All right, that was a good session. I am about 2/3 of the way done with that chapter, so I've been making great progress. And as you saw, I was messing around on my phone afterwards. So I'm probably going to just finish out this chapter and then relax for 10 minutes during the last sprint. I am unmotivated to really push myself to do more than that, but I will have achieved my goal of finishing out this iteration of the book, and it doesn't make sense for me to start off with chapter 1 again this time. I can do it later on this week, or more likely just wait until next week to get started on that. With that in mind, let's see how you all are doing. Sweet. Yeah, so it sounds like dinner is on the way, but it's going to be late. I'm still going to just bail out of this at the usual 7:30 time. And yeah, thank you everybody for being here. I'll be here next weekend. Next Monday, but not the Monday after that. Again, life is getting in the way, and that's assuming that life doesn't get in the way, because I have a whole bunch of fun things that may or not be coming up soon that would prevent me from doing things after work or force me to work extra long for certain days. Anyways, that being said, when those life issues come up, it doesn't necessarily make sense for me to squeeze in one of these productivity sprints on a later date. I mean, it's obviously good that I was able to push through and write tonight. That really helped get me into a better headspace. But yeah, last week, I don't know, pretty good all around, but I could not also handle doing this productivity sprints, hosting them. So yeah, like I said, next week I'll be here, and following weekend I will not be. The following Monday I will not be. Oh, thank you, Richard. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with less productive sprints. It's also less time too. So the first one was 30 minutes, the second one is 20, and the third one will be also 20 minutes. So I try to get most of my productivity done in that first sprint. Some sort of carried through in the second one, and then just finish strong in the third. That's how I mentally focus for the 40 minutes, hour, 10 minutes that we're doing this. That checks out. And yeah, I will get back into it. I don't have any other updates. Yep, no new life updates, no more life updates, no new book updates. I am actively working on my cover. I sent my ideas over to Meeble Art, and so I'll probably do some reveal later on. It's not ready yet, so there's nothing to show at this point. Well, there's nothing official to show at this point. They sent me back a really interesting looking drawing, but a really interesting cover design for the initial version. But I had a whole bunch of thoughts on what I wanted from it, and hopefully they'll be able to make it work. But they do fantastic. They do a fantastic job. So it was actually really cool. I talked about this before. For the second book, the first design of that cover was just this incredibly realistic. You had this smoke monster that was, so this is the cover that we ended up with right behind me, Expanding Cracks. So we have this kind of, not really cartoonish, but definitely not like highly stylized. And then you had this dark background and sort of a mood and vibes rather than anything. And the first version was extremely detailed. It was extremely realistic, and it was, I mean, I can't say, I've already said extremely, but I really liked the cover. I just didn't like it for my series. So I said, hey, look at this first book, make it more blue, make it more modeled after this style. And then I did the same thing with this one. So for the fourth book, it's in the right style, but there were a couple of things which didn't exactly translate from my really, really shitty sketches to what they ultimately did. with that in mind, I really do think that they'll get something good. So I'm sure it'll work out. And let's get started on the third and final sprint for night. So I will see you all in 20 minutes as I finish up this iteration of editing my novel. Welcome back. Sorry about that. I finished up halfway through. I completed the complete iteration of my novel, and then just stick around my phone for 10 minutes. So I'm a little bit more relaxed. I'm about ready to go get dinner, and I will see you all in a week. Hopefully by then everything with work will be straightened out. And yeah, that's all I really got. Thank you everybody for joining in. I know it was kind of a more laid back episode, but next week I will be back in fighting force, and let's be productive together, I guess. Take care, have a wonderful week, and I will see you next Monday. Bye now.